Every town has its share of mysterious historic homes that stand like monuments to time forgotten. These buildings have been here so long they've watched an entire town grow up around them, as forests and fields turn to neighborhoods and shopping plazas. Such is the story of the Parrott House, Roseburg's best-known historic home. But what stories are hidden within its walls? Is it possible that recent renovations have stirred sleeping spirits? Are flickering lights, strange disembodied voices, and eerie footsteps attributed to real-life hauntings? Or is this just an old, creaky house playing tricks on the mind? There's only one way to find out. Get ready to be locked inside the Parrott House.
This little building here is the original, they call it a wash house.
Our crew met up with owner-operator Heidi Lale, who was nice enough to give us a personal tour of the property. As we walked the halls, she regaled us with some of the history of the Parrott House, and we learned how she's turned this old home into a thriving restaurant and venue.
Ooh, this place is very cool.
Built in 1891 by Moses and Tennessee Parrott, the home is registered on the National Historic Registry and now serves as a restaurant, bourbon bar, event space, Airbnb, and even boutique grocery store, where guests can experience world-class accommodations and dining in an illustrious setting. During our conversation, Heidi begins to suggest that there is more to this old house than what meets the eye.
I've been a developer for a lot of years. I've never had coincidences happen the way that I have with this building, with this house, ever in my life. And I think I told you about the fireplace, right?
You did. Can we hear it again?
Yeah.
Heidi takes us to the fireplace and explains that before she acquired the property, the previous owner had stripped the inside of the house, selling off much of the interior hardware, including doorknobs, hinges, light fixtures, and even the ornamental fireplace mantle.
This fireplace mantle was, it'd be like taking the grill off of a Mercedes.
She proceeds to tell us about a quick pit stop she made during a trip to Portland.
We went up to Portland and for the first time ever just kind of pulled off into Aurora. And I've never been there before. I had no reason to go there other than it was just old and it's cool, and I know that they have a lot of old architectural things. And I went in and I just thought, well, let me try it. And we went into, the first place we went into was the architectural salvage called Aurora Mills. Okay, we go in. The owner happened to be there. His name is Mike. And he says, well, what all are you looking for? And I go down this whole list of stuff. And I said, but mostly if I could just find something of the Gothic revival that would match this fireplace that would have been in the house. And he said, well, where's this house? And I said, it's in this small little town called Roseburg. And he said, Roseburg? And he said, did it have a turret? And I said, mm-hmm.
The shopkeeper described to Heidi the house, its previous owner, and how he came into possession of many of the home's artifacts, including the mantle.
I said, so you have my mantle? And he goes, mm-hmm. And we walked back to it. And he goes, well, here it is. And I looked at it and I said, you gotta be kidding me. But this whole thing, this is 100% all the Parrotts. They had 10 children, and he had Tennessee, and you had Moses, and this was their home. This is every day they'd walk by and touch this thing.
In terms of strange occurrences, Heidi had more to show us, so she led us upstairs to the turret room, where a swarm of flies has amassed and collapsed dead.
Oh my gosh, you weren't kidding.
All these cracks. And when I had the place re-roofed, I asked the roofers, Roseburg Roofing, Mike, I said, look, So can you see if there's a dead body up there? Because every single year these suckers come in and this happens. The whole thing, and it will happen again in February, right before Valentine's Day.
She says it happens twice a year and only in this one room, but has no explanation for the cause. So far, these stories could be chalked up to strange coincidences and some natural phenomena. But Heidi goes on to tell us that many of her employees have reported hearing strange sounds, like voices and footsteps when the restaurant was closed and no one else was in the building. Even the head chef has a story about how he was the first person to show up for work one morning and saw a full-blown apparition.
So when I came in, I saw he was an older gentleman in with suspenders, white shirt, and he was shaking a martini. And it sounded, how you guys can probably hear it. You'll hear an ice machine in the background, but this was like a real rattle of ice, is what I heard.
Yeah.
And that's what spooked me a little bit and got me going upstairs.
It's one thing to hear stories of experiences from others, but another thing altogether to have your own experience. So after hearing all these stories, we asked Heidi if we could stay the night in the house to conduct our own paranormal research, and she happily obliged.
Locked in. We're alone in the Parrott house, and this is when the fun begins. Dude, I'm already creeped out. I was feeling good. I was feeling good all week until we came here and heard all their stories of the people that work here, and that there's actually things that have been happening to them, and it's not just some random internet person that's got a rumor about, oh yeah, I've heard the walls bleed. Actually hearing people that, oh, there are footsteps up in the hallway, and that fly room. It's gonna be an interesting night. Interesting night.
Throughout the night, we walked around the house with our night vision camera calling out into the darkness.
Anybody that wants to make their presence known. There's so many mirrors. You never know what's gonna pop up in there.
We also set up an audio recorder in a couple supposed hotspots in order to catch EVPs, or electronic voice phenomenon.
Could do a little something that I can't believe we agreed to. I'm gonna go up into one of these rooms here. Just hang out for a bit, solo.
Unfortunately, the night was relatively uneventful, but maybe that was a good thing. So whether or not the Parrott house is haunted remains unclear, but one thing that is clear is that the food is great, the cocktails are phenomenal, and the atmosphere is cozy and inviting. And if there are any phantoms lurking about, then they certainly have good taste, and they know where the spot is in town.